Hey folks, Brendan here with another video for you, and this one is a really special one because it's going to be about the new normal in terms of police recruitment and what you can start to do to prepare for it. So what do I mean by the new normal? Well, Dyfed Powers Police this week coming up is going to be doing their final interview for their candidates to join that force via Skype. They had planned on doing a interview face-to-face, which was also going to include a role play. Now they've binned that role play. I don't know why they introduced an extra level of role play. Maybe they felt it was something that was really important that they did, but they've binned it. They've had to bin it. Actually, they didn't have to bin it. I think they probably could have done it via Skype. But they're going to interview their candidates via Skype. And I think what's going to happen in the future, the new normal that emerges out of this pandemic, is a completely different way of doing recruitment. So today I'm going to give you some tips, because over the past several years I've been doing one-to-one coaching with people via Skype initially. Now I tend to use Messenger or Zoom, because the good thing about Zoom meetings is the person who I'm coaching and supporting can download a copy of that coaching session, so they can extract every little bit of learning from it. So I'm coaching at the moment someone who's got the Dyfed Powers interview coming up very soon, and I did say I'd prepare some top tips for them. Now, start making notes, folks, because this is so important, and start doing the things I'm asking you to do, because just on the horizon is this. You will go through the police recruitment process via webinar, via Skype, via Messenger, whatever technology the force chooses to use. It's almost a certainty. The police assessment centres are up and running at the moment, but I don't believe it's going to be long before they become remote. They may stop them, but then they're going to have to kick them up again. They're going to have to fire them up again, because it's so important that we keep police officers coming in. Can't just say stop, because the service really needs them more now than ever. So pin your ears back, folks. Here's some top tips. Now, the first one is camera angle. Now, you've noticed now in this one here that the angle of the camera is such that we're almost sort of at eye level, aren't we? Almost at eye level. Now, if I was using my laptop, which is just down here, and most people have their laptop on a desk with the screen looking up, then it's going to be really distracting, because you're going to look like this. You're going to look down like this, aren't you? You're going to have that sort of look. Give you a big double chin or something like that. It's just not a very appealing look. Now, I could actually lift this, couldn't I? I could lift it up a little bit and move it around. Now, how can I do that? Well, I've got a little boom arm that I fix my camera to. Actually, I'm recording this on my iPhone, so just straighten it out again. There we go. I record this on my iPhone. I've got a little professional microphone plugged into it, but be careful, because some of those little microphones that you plug into it, if you have a signal running through the camera, it'll make a lot of background noise. So depending on the type of microphone you've got, I'd probably just suggest just use one in the phone. But if you're going to use your laptop, prop it up on some books or something so that it's at eye level, because the last thing you want your interviewer to think is, oh my goodness, this just doesn't seem right. Because what we want to do is we want to recreate how a conversation would be normally as much as we possibly can. So that's the first one, eye level. Get the eye level right, so that you're not either looking up at someone or looking down at someone. And secondly, the second one is backdrop. Now, if I was going for a job interview via Zoom or Skype or whatever medium it would be, I would not do it here, because there's too many distracting things, isn't there? The interview is going to be looking at the those newspaper clipping at the back and think, what's that all about? Oh, there's a police helmet. Oh, look at that, there's a police helmet. What's on the little flip charts? What's that all about? I wonder what those certificates are for. Oh, there's was that an inspector's hat? Yeah, isn't it? Why are those police officers all wearing shorts? And what's that one all about? And that's the Prime Minister, isn't it? Isn't that the Prime Minister in the background? An old Prime Minister that we've had. Too many distractions. These are sort of, this is my office, this is my little home, so, you know, hopefully it's not distracting to you watching this video, but it'd be distracting to the interviewer. So as plain a background as possible. Now, when I'm doing one-to-one coaching with people, I sometimes get a little bit surprised at how much of their personal life they want to reveal to me. So I've seen unmade beds in the background. I've seen things that I've just thought, do you know, I would not want to share that with the world. Things that are in your private place, in your private setting. You know, certain photographs. I'll let your imagination run wild with that one, but there's certain things that you're okay with because it's in your personal domain, but you're letting this person, this interviewer who doesn't know you, into your personal life. And just check what's in the background. You know, unmade beds, messy room, really distracting things in the background, things that might not be appropriate, might be a little bit too revealing. On the subject of revealing, dress as though you mean it. This is a job interview, so don't think because you're in the comfort of your own home you can get a little bit slack. I mean, I like to, sometimes I forget to, but I should actually always dress up a little bit for these videos, and I have today. So just 5 minutes ago I was in this really scruffy sweatshirt because earlier on today I was doing some work in the garden. So, you know, dress for the part, and don't just think, oh, they're only going to see the top bit. What happens if you suddenly need to get up for something and you've got nothing on the lower part of your body? And look, dress as though you mean it anyway, because when I put this shirt on, suddenly I feel a little bit more professional. If I had my sweatshirt on earlier, it's got logos on it, and it'll probably have a bit of dirt on it as well because I've been doing some gardening stuff. So look, dress as though you mean it. Dress like the detective you're going to be, and make sure that you're not like me, scratchy, fuzzy all over your face. If the gentleman out there, get a shave or get your beard trimmed. Make sure your hair's looking right. For the women, minimal makeup, but check your makeup. Actually, check what it looks like when you are on camera. And nothing that you're wearing that's going to be glaring or is going to throw the camera as well, because remember, the camera's got to balance everything out. So if you've got something on that's really bright against the background that's not really bright, then it's gonna cause problems with the camera actually highlighting you or highlighting the background. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. I hope it didn't seem like a bit of a dad talk, especially when I was sort of saying, you know, dress as though you mean it, and, you know, get a shave and stuff like that. These are the things you would do for an interview if you went to police headquarters. So do the same, even if it's in your own house. Right, next one, lighting. Now, I'm gonna do something that might appear a bit weird here. Look at that. Look at that. And look at this. And look at that. And look at that. And look at that. Look at that. Let's just bring it back to what it was before. I think it's something like that. So I've got lighting right behind my iPhone. It set me back about £14. Not just the lighting, but it's two boom arms which I can sort of move around, and it just clips to my desk. £14 I think it was from Amazon, and I've got really good lighting, which is lighting me. On so many occasions I've been doing coaching with people and the lighting has been behind them. So they've got a window behind them and all I see is this dark figure. I mean, sometimes it's really distracting, and I've had to say, look, could you just move to another location, because all I can see is a bright light coming through your window and you're like Darth Vader without any kind of detail. So we need to check that out as well. And at the same time, make sure that we've got a good functioning microphone. So I did a session with someone the other day and they were really fuzzy. I could hardly see them. It was like I was looking through a dirty window, and the sound was really poor as well, and it would waver in and out. And it turned out that the camera had some smudges all over it on their laptop, so they cleaned that and suddenly they appeared okay. And they had a faulty microphone on their laptop. So this is something that you really need to focus on, and focus on now, because unless you've checked your lighting, unless you've checked that everything is working properly, on the day of the interview, where you might have been allocated 40 minutes, if you spend the first 5 to 10 minutes faffing around, not being able to get everything set up properly, then it's not creating the right impression, is it? You know, the first impressions count. So make sure you're in the right location, you've got your lighting right, you've tested the microphone, you've tested the lighting. You know, have conversations over Skype or over Zoom or over Messenger with people just to check that everything is working correctly. And just ask them, can you see anything in the background that's distracting? Get a second opinion. There's more to this, because in a moment I'm going to be telling you what else you need to do in front of a camera. So other things to make sure are in place or not in place is, if you are using your phone, then you need to have everything turned to silent, because the last thing you need is you're on this Skype interview, or they might be using Zoom or whatever it might be, and a phone call comes in. You can't just say to the interviewer, I just need to get this call, do you mind? No, you can't. And this is why perhaps, you know, I'm doing this on my phone now, but if I was doing it and it was the real deal, I'd probably do it maybe on a tablet or an iPad and have it in front of me, right in front of me. The other thing I do there is make sure that you practice different formats. So at the moment I've got it horizontally formatted, but if you're doing that on an iPad, you've got the camera over at one end, and it's sort of like this, and the camera's over at one end, and you'll be looking at the screen, and it might be a bit distracting because it just looks a bit odd because the camera's sort of looking at you as an angle there. So stare into the camera. That's not staring into the camera, that's staring into the camera there, because the camera on my phone is, ooh, it's just there. So that's staring into the camera, and that's a little bit distracting. It's hard even for me, because I'm watching myself on the screen, and you'll be seeing me completely different now. I can't see myself. All I can see is where the camera is, and that's what I'm talking to at the moment. Right, moving back now. Actually, I'll watch that back. I'll watch that back later just to see what it's like, because I tend to look at me, but I know that that means my eyes are slightly skewed to one side. You need to be looking at the individual. Eye contact is so important, and so is non-verbal communication as well. If you notice what I'm doing here, every now and then you'll see my hands. Now that could be a real distraction if you just see two thumbs doing this. The interviewer would be thinking, what's going on there? Which is why intentionally, if I do some kind of non-verbal communication, I'll make sure that my hands are there. Now I'm going a bit over the top now, aren't I? I wouldn't be doing this though, because look what happens when I bring my hands a bit too close to you. So I'm trying to explain something, and my arms are all over the place. All you can see is my arms, and suddenly, what on earth is going on? So if you are going to do that non-verbal communication, make sure your hands are a bit closer to you. That's just something I've picked up in the past. Or just don't do it at all. Keep your hands down there. Another top tip. All that sort of background noise when you're a little bit nervous. You might be thinking, I'll have a pen so I can make some notes, and then you don't know you're starting to do that, and you don't know that your leg's doing this. So you need to make sure that you don't have a distraction. Get rid of the pens, cross your legs, do something to ensure that there's no distracting noises in the background. I use a swivel chair as well. Look at that, little swivel chair. If I was doing an interview with someone, if I was being interviewed, I'd use a fixed chair, because when you're nervous, you'll sort of move around a bit like this. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? It's just not going to work, is it? What else can we say? What else? Oh yes, distracting background noises. So I'm doing this now in my office in the evening. I didn't do it during the day because the neighbours, who were about 10 metres that way, were doing some work in the garden, and it was really distracting. And I've not got the door open here because, one, it's cold outside, and two, we don't live far away from a railway line. Now, the railway line's not too distracting. Every now and then you may hear a little rumble on my videos, but there's one particular train. It's a Transpennine train. Why they bought them, by the way? It's a brand new train. It is so noisy. Oh my goodness, it's so noisy. The new Transpennine train is the noisiest train I've ever heard. My little boys nicknamed it the Beast. So make sure you're somewhere where those distractions aren't going to happen, even if it means going to a friend's house or a relative's house. Not at the moment though, not during the coronavirus pandemic. Stay housebound, folks. So any other noises as well. So get someone to look after the dog, put the dog in the back garden, do something, because the last thing you need halfway through the interview is the postie comes to deliver something or stick a letter through the letterbox and your dog starts going bonkers. All the noises that happen in your house can't be happening during this interview. So you need to make sure that everything is down to a minimum in terms of noises. What else do we need to do? Well, this is a different way of having a conversation. I'm really comfortable with it. You know, I'm comfortable talking to the camera because I've made so many of these videos. I'm really comfortable doing one-to-one coaching with people using Messenger or Zoom or whatever medium I choose to use. I'm really comfortable running webinars. So next week I'm running a police assessment centre seminar via webinar. I've just broken down my seminar, which used to be face-to-face. I've groups of 15 to 25 people. Can't do that anymore. So we're doing exactly the same thing via webinar. Now, I'm really comfortable with that, but I've run that many webinars now and that many coaching sessions via this medium that it's okay for me. But when I first started, it was a bit difficult. When I first started doing coaching that wasn't face-to-face, it was via a phone link. I was doing it via, you know, across a phone. And it just didn't feel right because I was missing out on so much non-verbal communication. And then I started moving to this kind of medium, face-to-face via Messenger or Zoom or Skype. And again, it started feeling a bit weird to start with. Now it doesn't, because I've done it that many times. So start practicing, folks. That's what I'm going to say. Practice. Get everything set up so it's perfect, because you'll make a massively superb impression on the interviewer when you've taken care of all of this kind of detail, compared to those who just treat it as like a chat with one of the mates on their laptop. And like I said, distracting background, looking down on them, the lighting's not right, background noises, dogs barking, not dressed appropriately, not shaved, makeup all over the place, or no makeup whatsoever, or not had a haircut. Or look, all of these things are so important. Collectively, when you bring them together, they're so important. And the last thing that's so important, oh my goodness, this is the number one thing that's important. Practice. Practice, practice, practice. And when you think you've practiced enough, you haven't. Practice more. Practice more, and then more, and then more. Every day of your life until your assessment centre or your interview, you should be absolutely, incredibly obsessive, building up that momentum so that every day you're doing a practice session, but you're not doing it across the kitchen table anymore. You're doing it like this. You're doing it face-to-face with someone via a webinar, via Skype, via whatever medium the force is going to use. So find out what medium the force is going to use and use that one, because all of them have different settings and you cannot be getting used to the settings on the day. You've also got to be confident at being able to deliver answers using this medium. And make sure you've got little things like some water. Because you can't get up and say, my mouth's a bit dry, do you mind if I just go and get a cup of water? All of these things are so important. Do a dummy run. This is what I do in my coaching. I do dummy runs with people. I put them under pressure. I'll ask them the questions that they'll get asked. I'll ask them those supplementary questions, then we'll debrief it. And there's always so much to learn. There's always so much to learn. Now that's preparing people for the face-to-face. Now I'm starting to prepare people for the face-to-face via this medium. And it's going to be very different. But it's going to be the new normal, because there's no reason why you can't run the Search Assessment Centre or the day one via Zoom webinar. No way. There's no reason why you can't do it. There's no way that we're going to go back to the way we used to do assessment centres and interviews, because what Force is going to realise out of all of this is that there is a better way. This will be, it's a tragic set of circumstances we're in. I mean, oh my goodness, there's people dying. You know, so if you listen to this, stay inside. Don't be thinking it's not going to happen to you, because it could. So stay inside, please stay inside. But out of this will emerge a new normal. It'll be the catalyst for change. And the way our society and our world runs, I'm quite sure will be very different after the coronavirus. So there you go, folks. Practice. And one of the things that you might want to do is practice with me, because you know, I will give you the interview questions that you're going to get on a day, or ones that are very likely, and I will put you through your paces. So if you'd like to find out more about that service, ask in the link below. It'll be down there. There's also, for those of you be thinking, I just want to practice with someone, not with someone who's going to give me that kind of detailed breakdown and prepare me for the day. Because all of this is a rehearsal. On the day, it's your performance, and your performance has got to be outstanding to secure that position. Now more than ever, job security is something that is important, and with the police service you get that job security. We need to get the job now, not be thinking, oh, I can fail this time and I'll get it next time. Who knows what the future is going to look like? Get the job now. I'm making a bit of, get them tapping there. Get the job now. So there you go, folks. Oh, like I said, if you like to just practice with other people, in the Facebook group down there, the link down there, whether you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook, you might even be watching this in the group, in which case you know how amazing it is. It's the Blue Light Police Recruitment Facebook support group. Almost 10,000 people in it at the moment. There'll be people in there who'll be quite happy to practice with you. Anyway, there you go, folks. A rather long video, but there's a lot I need to start packing in now to get you ready for the new normal. The old normal won't happen again. Any force that starts using the old normal once we're out of this really does need a bit of a wake-up call. The way we recruit needs to move with the times, and this pandemic is going to enable that to happen. A positive coming out of tragic set of circumstances. So folks, my message now, start getting used to the new normal, what it's going to be, start adapting, start practicing for it, start getting ready for it. And keep yourself safe as well. A little message, keep yourself safe. We are so locked down as a family at the moment. We are so locked down because the message is every time you lock yourself down like this, you're saving a life. And we take that really seriously, and so do the children. It's hard work, but it's just going to be for a few weeks. It's just going to be for a few weeks, folks. It might be for a few months. I don't care. We're going to lock ourselves down to save lives, to save our lives maybe. So look after yourself. Take heed of the government advice. Think one step ahead of the government advice even, and get yourself ready for the new normal. And if you are serving already and you're watching this just out of interest, then I doff my cap to you. Kudos to you. Keep up the good work. You're all very brave people who are out there at this moment in time. Stay well, look after yourself, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye bye for now.